Hello, my crafty companions. Well, what we got to talk about today then? Well, I've got a couple of knitting tips which you might not know about. So, remember that jumper I've been banging on about for the last 2 or 3 weeks, this one? Well, I've knitted all the parts and I'm going to show you a little trick on how to get a neckline like this to be super neat. So, I don't know if you can see that there. There's a slight curve. So that's the neckband that I've knitted. I don't know if you can see. So, this is how I did it. So, this is double knit yarn, and usually with the neckband and the welts, they're done on 3 1/4 needles. So that's a 9 row band to there. Then we do that row, that contrast row, then there's 9 more. So I knitted 7 rows with 3 1/4 needles. Then I knitted 1 rib row with 3mm needles, and then with the 3mm needles I did a knit row on the wrong side, so that gets that little bumpy row there, which is the break line when you fold the piece over. Then I did 1 more row of rib in 3mm, and then I went back to the 3 1/4 needles to rib 6 more rows. Bear with me. Then I do 1 rib row with 4mm needles, and then I cast off with 4.5mm needles. And what that does, it makes the neckband go like that, so that when it's folded over and stitched in place, so that's the right side, and you see there's that bobbly row on the break line, and then it gets stitched there. And because we've cast off with a 4.5mm needle, that has plenty of give in it, so that when you pull the jumper over your head and the neckline stretches a lot, it doesn't feel tight round the top of your head. So that's the first lot of tips. A bit involved, I know, but it does make a super neat neckline. So now then, let's get on with the next tip. So this jumper has set-in sleeves. So we've got the armhole and we have the sleeve to go in it. So what I've done, I've stitched the sleeve seam up, and then this here is what I've done with the sleeve head. I don't know if you can see there. I've put in a gathering stitch, and it goes from there all the way around the sleeve head to the other side, and that is halfway across. So you get your sleeve like that, fold it in half, and that where that fold is where you start the gathering stitch. And what you do is, so it's right side of sleeve, wrong side of jumper. So the sleeve goes in the armhole, and then we start holding it in place. Now then, got my nice little box of tricks here. So you can either use pins, and I'd suggest using pins with a big head on them like that. But my favourite way is to use these, which are quilting clips. So this is how I do it. I match the sleeve seam with the side seam and clip it in place. Then each side, so you see where that's the start of the decrease to create the shape on the sleeve head and the armhole. So we put another clip there. We do that both sides. And then we find the centre point at the top of the sleeve head. So you just fold it in half like that, and that there is the centre point that gets lined up with the shoulder seam, and clip that in place. Now then, this is where the fun starts, because that sleeve head, which is there, is slightly bigger than that armhole, but you need to create a nice shaping here for your shoulder point. You need to gather ever so slightly on that sleeve head, and that's what this thread is for. So you just do it ever so slightly each side, just gently pull that thread, and you see it's gathered up a little bit, and then you put your clips on to hold it all in place. And that creates a nice, sturdy armhole. So you can then sew the sleeve in place, and it will be super neat. So that's it, like that. So I will then sew round there so that the sleeve is inserted properly into the armhole. Now you won't really be able to see terribly well because of the quilting clips are a bit clumsy, but you'll see that when that's stitched in, that's going to be a very neat sleeve head. So there we go. There's my 2 knitting tips for my crafty companions. Now then, this was the yarn I used, and I had about 150 grams left over. So I've decided to try some crochet with it. So let me show you what I've done. So the ball band recommends a 4mm hook, but I'm crocheting a pencil case and a little drawstring bag. So I did some samples here. So that one I did with 3.5 hook, and this one I did with a 4mm hook. And I did this just to check the tension and see how I liked it. I preferred the firmer tension, so that was with the 3.5 hook. So this is what we've done. So that's going to be my pencil case. But how nice is that? I think it looks just as nice crocheted as it does knitted. Now sometimes with these variegated yarns, they don't always look nice in both types, both crochet and knitting. It will be one or the other. So I was jolly pleased to see that it does look nice in crochet too. So that's going to be my pencil case. So what I did, I crocheted a basic granny square, and then I folded granny square in half and did some, I think these are called single crochets. Can you see? And I did several rows round the top just to make a nice firm edge, because that's where the zip's going to go. And I've only got this far with my little bag, but that's going to be 2 granny squares about 8 inches. This is an 8-inch granny square, by the way, and these will be about 8 inches, and then I'll stitch them both together and then do a shell edging around the top and then run a drawstring through. So that's my catch up on my lovely variegated yarn jumper. So once again, that's Trimit's printed double knit that I used, and it feels so nice and silky. It feels more like rayon, even though it's acrylic yarn. So it's very nice. There we go. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for watching, and give us a thumbs up if you liked it. And bye bye from Marina at the Haberdashery.